Happy day children, this is your 6th video of history second lesson and this is the last video too. We are going to complete the lesson in this video. We will just start from judicial system. In 1772, the dual government was abolished and the company took over the direct responsibility for the collection of revenue as well as the administration of justice. So, in 1772 what happened? Dual government was abolished. The company took over the direct responsibility. They took over the direct responsibility for collecting of revenue as well as the administration of justice. Consequently, a Diwani Adalat and Fujari Adalat were established. So, at the same time, two kinds of Adalat was introduced, established. What are they? Diwani Adalat and Fujari Adalat. By Regulating Act of 1773, a Supreme Court was set up in Calcutta. This court consisted of a Chief Justice and 3 puissant judges. So, puissant judges is nothing but it's a title of judge, who were appointed by the crown. This court decided civil, crime, ecclesiastical and admiralty cases. So, these cases they were taking. On the model of the Supreme Court of Calcutta, a Supreme Court was established in Madras in the year 1801 and in Bombay in 1823. In 1832, William Bentinck started jury system in Bengal. Indian Law Commission was established to compile the laws. The rule of law was established for the whole empire according to the Indian High Court Act 1861. 3 high courts were set up in Calcutta, Bombay and Madras in place of old Supreme Courts. Next, coming to Do You Know, page 21. Sir Elijah Impey was the first Chief Justice of Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal. Sir Elijah Impey was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal. Next one, Sir Thiruvarur Muthuswamy was the first Indian Chief Justice of Madras High Court. There are two persons. Sir Elijah Impey, he was the first Chief Justice of Supreme Court where in Bengal, Fort William, Bengal. Next, Sir Thiruvarur Muthuswamy was the first Indian Chief Justice of Madras High Court. Next, so picture of Sir Elijah Impey and he was what? Chief Justice of Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal. And next, Sir Thiruvarur Muthuswamy and he was the first Indian Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. Next, we are going to see subsidiary alliances. What is subsidiary alliances? Lord Wellesley introduced a system of subsidiary alliances to bring the princely states under the control of the British. So, Lord Wellesley, he wanted to bring the princely states under the control of the British. So, he introduces alliances called what? Subsidiary alliances. We will see what is that. It was the most effective instrument for the expansion of the British territory and political influence in India. So, this subsidiary alliances was a great instrument, effective instrument for expanding British territory and political influence in India. The princely state was called protected state. The princely state was called what? Protected state. And the British came to be referred as the paramount power. So, British came to known as what? Paramount power. It was The duty of the British to safeguard the state from external aggression and to help its ruler in maintaining internal peace. So, what is the duty of British? To safeguard the state from external aggression and to help its ruler in maintaining internal peace. We will see in detail what are the features, main features of this subsidiary alliances. An Indian ruler entering into this alliance with the British had to dissolve his own armed force and accept British force. So, what is the first feature, main feature, when an Indian ruler entering the subsidiary alliances with British people? So, he has to do what? He has to dissolve his own armed force and he has to accept what? British force. Next. The British resident could stay in his capital. The British resident could stay in his capital. Whose capital? Indian ruler's capital. Next. Towards the maintenance charges of the army, he should make annual payments. He should make annual payments or cede some territory permanently to the company. All the non-English European officials should be turned out of a state. The native ruler should deal with foreign states only through the English company. The British would undertake to defend the state from internal trouble as well as external attack. Next, we will see what are the merits for the British of this subsidiary alliances. Merits or benefits or advantages. Okay. Merits for the British. The British company maintained a large army at the expense of the Indian rulers. All Frenchmen in the service of native rulers were dismissed and the danger of French revival was completely eliminated. The British company began to control the foreign policy of the princely states. Wellesley's diplomacy made the British the paramount power in India. He transformed the British Empire in India into the British Empire in India. He transformed the British Empire in India into the British Empire of India. Next one is defects of the princely states. Defects or otherwise called as disadvantages. The subsidiary alliances made the Indian rulers weak, oppressive and irresponsible. Protected by British arms, they neglected their duty towards their subjects and even exploited them. Next, in the box they have given, the first Indian state to accept the subsidiary alliances was Hyderabad in the year 1798. This comes in short answer for you. Okay, just listen. The first Indian state to accept the subsidiary alliances was what? Hyderabad in the year 1798. Second one, it was followed by, this was followed by Tanjore in the year 1799. Next was Awadh in 1801. Next was Peshwa 1802. Next was Bhonsle 1803. Next Gwalior 1804 and Indore 1817. Jaipur, Udaipur and Jodhpur in the year 1818. Next, we will see what is doctrine of lapse. Lord Dalhousie was one of the chief architects of the British Empire in India. So, Lord Dalhousie was one of the chief architects of British Empire in India. He was an imperialist. He adopted a new policy known as doctrine of lapse to extend British Empire. So, in order to extend British Empire, he adopted a policy known as doctrine of lapse. We will see what does the policy says. He made use of this precedent and declared in 1848 that if the native rulers adopted children without the prior permission of the company, only the personal properties of the ruler would go to the adopted sons and the kingdoms would go to the British paramount power. So, what they say here, from here to here. This tells about doctrine of lapse. He made use of this precedent and declared in 1848 that if the Indian ruler adopted children without the prior permission, without any permission, if Indian ruler adopt a child, okay, of the company, he have to get prior permission from the company, okay, East India Company. Only the personal properties of the rulers would go to the adopted son. Only the personal property of the Indian ruler could go to that adopted son. But the kingdoms could go to the British paramount. But his kingdom will go to whom? To British paramount. This is the main theme of doctrine of lapse. This principle was called the doctrine of lapse. It was bitterly opposed by the Indians and it was one of the root cause for the Great Revolt of 1857. So, this doctrine of lapse was one of the great root cause for Great Revolt in 1857. So, Great Revolt in 1857 you will be learning as a lesson in history. Okay, so this is the picture of Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie, who adopted a policy called doctrine of lapse. Next. By applying the doctrine of lapse policy, Dalhousie annexed Satara in 1848, Jaipur and Sambalpur in 1849, Bakad in 1850, Udaipur in 1852, Jhansi in 1853 and Nagpur in 1854. Next, factors for the success of British. What are the factors success of British? Greater naval power, development of textiles, scientific division of labor, economic prosperity and skillful diplomacy of the British, feelings of insecurity among the Indian merchants. Last one is the inequality and ignorance of the Indian kings. Conclusion of this lesson. The Battle of Plassey was foundation of the British dominion in India. The company's administration was not for the interest of people. It was imperialistic, expansionist and exploitative. It brought more Indian territories under British domain through subsidiary alliances and doctrine of lapse. This policy led to a South Indian rebellion in the year 1800 to 1801, Vellore rebellion in 1806 and the Great Rebellion in 1857. We'll just recap the lesson. Siraj-ud-Dawla ascended the throne in Bengal. On 9th February 1757, Treaty of Alinagar was signed. The Carnatic Wars, which spanned from 1746 to 1763. Tipu agreed to pay 3.6 crore of rupees to the English as war indemnity. Wellesley declared war against Tipu in 1799. Cornwallis established a system of circles or thanas, each was headed by a daroga. Sir Elijah Impey was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal. Lord Wellesley introduced a system of subsidiary alliance to bring the princely state under the control of the British. And the last one is Lord Dalhousie was one of the chief architects of the British Empire in India. Okay, children, we have completed the lesson. And next we shall start another new lesson. Thank you children. Take care.